Hey, and welcome to the Deep Resilience Podcast. I'm your host, Melly O'Brien, and in this podcast, along with my weekly newsletter and the Deep Resilience program, we are focusing on one clear goal: translating the best evidence-based tools and the deep wisdom teachings on mental resilience into practical everyday strategies that are accessible to everyone. It is my deep passion to bring you content that breaks down big concepts in ways that make sense to you, but also to make sure I give you tools in each episode that you can immediately use to grow your inner strength and create real positive change in your life and in the world. And hey, if you want to take your inner strength to the next level, be sure to join my newsletter at mellyobrien.com, where you'll receive a whole range of extra benefits, special offers, and bonuses. Let's dive in now to today's episode. Hey friends, I'm really looking forward to sharing this week's podcast with you, which is our third episode in the 4-part series, You Are the Calm. This is part of my April offering to really give a suite of tools, live meditation and breathwork sessions, podcast episodes, and of course the Calm in Crisis course, which is a 5-day journey to unshakable resilience. And that 5-day journey starts on May 1st. And I just wanted to give you a heads up that the early bird rates still apply for this course. It's money back guaranteed and comes with 3 live Q&A coaching sessions with me. If you're looking right now for a deep mental and emotional reset and a framework to unlock the strength, calm, and wisdom inside you, I'd love to invite you to join us in that course. You can see all the details in the show notes. We have many people already joining this course, so you will be taking that journey with a community of like-minded people who are all looking for that strength and stability in the world we're living in. The world is feeling pretty shaky right now, which is the reason I'm offering the You Are the Calm series. But just because the world is shaky doesn't mean we have to be. We can dig deeper into our best and highest inner resources and rise stronger together. With that said, let's dive in now to the podcast. So, the most powerful question that you can ask yourself in hard times, that is what we're talking about today. And, before I unpack this, I want to give you a bit of context, because the reason I'm sharing this particular episode with you is that what I notice is when I'm usually first working with a client and they're describing what they're going through, I always return again and again to this question, this fundamental question that really cuts to the core of what resilience is really about, especially when things feel really overwhelming. And this question is the same question I ask myself when I'm going through things that are pretty overwhelming. It's simple and it's incredibly powerful. The question is this: how am I relating to what I'm experiencing? Now, if I'm working with a client, I would say to them, how are you relating to what you're experiencing? Now, I'm going to unpack this for you, but I just want to say that this single question can shift the entire way that you navigate a difficult time. It can turn inner chaos into clarity. It can help you move from stuckness and limitation into a state of empowerment and strength. So today we're going to unpack why this question matters so much and how you can start to use it in your life right now to feel stronger, calmer, and more empowered no matter what you're going through. So in the last episode, we talked about one of the most dangerous misconceptions around mental well-being and resilience. And what we spoke about is that many of us kind of have this feeling about when it comes to mental health that we kind of all neatly fit into two boxes. We're either mentally well, like we think of ourselves that way, and therefore we think of ourselves as resilient, or we think of ourselves as maybe mentally ill or mentally unwell, and so therefore maybe not that resilient. But in real life, things just don't work that way. So just to retouch in on what we spoke about last week for a bit of context, in the way that I see things, and this is coming from my experience of working in mental health education and coaching for over 2 decades, my work impacting over 1 million people globally, creating a method called the Deep Resilience Method, which has been endorsed and praised by neuroscientists, psychologists, and spiritual teachers alike. In my perspective, life just doesn't really work that way. The reality is that every single human being, whether you're a mindfulness teacher or a psychologist or a spiritual teacher or anyone else in this world, none of us are immune to this. Every single one of us moves along a spectrum of human emotion and experience as we go about life. We all have times of depressive moods, grief, anxiety, overwhelm, where we're just there's too much for us to cope for, to feel regulated. We all have times where we feel clear-headed and peaceful and content. And yes, it's true that we will all spend varying amounts of time in these different domains of life, but none of us is immune to moving up and down and through this spectrum throughout the course of our lives. It's just part of the human experience. True resilience isn't about always being in a good state. By the way, spirituality is not about always being in a good state. I think that's a common misconception. What true resilience is all about, and also what wisdom teachings are all about. It's about how we relate to whatever state we're in at the time. So the core message here, and that this brings me to today's topic, because we're going to take this one step deeper now, because resilience is not about what happens to us. It's not about what state we're in. It's about how we relate to what happens to us. It's about how we relate to what state we're in. And we have decades of research that now demonstrates very, very clearly it is not the frequency or the intensity or even the nature of the challenges that we get hit with in life that determine the quality of our lives or our state of being. It's how we meet them. It's how we respond to them. It's how we relate to them. So this is really, really good news, because there's so much about life that we can't control. We can't control the weather. We can't control how other people will act. We are not in control of all of the things that may happen to our relationships, to our bodies, and so many other, our financial situation. Those things tend to keep fluctuating and changing throughout our lives, up and down. We have financial success, and then we have some hardship. We have health, and then we have, not so good health. We have sickness. We have a relationship that's flourishing, and then we have hardship in our relationships. And this is just really, really normal. The question is, in the hard times when we naturally get an influx of difficult thoughts and feelings, that's a totally natural response. It's not about judging those things as wrong, or that we're flawed or weak, or, that there's something insufficient about us for feeling those things. It's how are we going to meet those moments. So when a client comes to me in a hard moment, maybe they're anxious, they're burnt out, they're going through grief, and they unpack what's happening for them. So they talk about the situation first and usually what they're feeling. And I ask questions for a while and we chat it through. But at some point, if you ever have a private coaching session with me, or if you have already, you'll know that basically what I will first do is I'll get clear on what's the situation that's challenging and what feelings and thoughts are coming up in relation to that. And then I will ask in some way, shape or form, and how are you relating to what's happening to you? So I want to give you an example. I talked about this a little bit in the episode last week, but rather than telling you a story about a client, I'm just going to tell you about what's happening with me at the moment and how I'm using this for myself. So right now, my little fur child, Rumi, he's my best friend in the whole world. He just came home from an emergency situation and he had to stay in the vets for a week. We don't know what's going to happen from here. He's home, he's in recovery, it's a wait and see game. And during the past week when I didn't know whether he was going to make it or not, and I was going into the vets every day, and there's multiple dimensions of difficulty in this situation, including, worrying about losing him, what I'm having to do to adjust my lifestyle to make all of this work right now, the financial stress of, just the vet bills and lots of other bits and pieces. I'm feeling all kinds of feelings this week. I'm feeling waves of worry, an influx of worrying thoughts. I'm feeling tired. I have waves of sadness, and that's just stress, and that's the situation. So the situation is my cat's life is in danger. I'm having certain feelings and thoughts in response, and that's the way it is right now. And then there's the way that I relate to my emotions, my thoughts, and the situation. So many moons ago, I may have responded by, judging myself for feeling overwhelmed or trying to push my feelings down or numb them out. I might have spiraled into a bunch of anxious and fearful thinking and made an already very difficult situation much, much, much harder for myself. Now, when I catch myself doing any of those things, I respond with awareness and compassion. So it's not that I don't ever fall into any unhelpful pattern. I do. I'm human. But I'm pretty good at catching it pretty quickly, noticing that I'm tipping into something unhelpful, and then choosing a more adaptive response. So there's a name for that. It's called psychological flexibility. It's really what it boils down to is the noticing of what is unhelpful, what is driving up my stress, what is clouding my thinking rather than clarifying it, which will stop me from being effective instead of being able to make wise decisions. Anything that increases my stress, anxiety, sadness, disempowerment, or, depression, just the ability to notice those and choose a more adaptive response. So it's really important for us to know that when certain ways of relating to our thoughts and emotions make them worse. I write about this a lot in my book, The Deep Resilience, where I unpack the 4 steps of my trademarked deep resilience method, which I've been teaching for many years now. And what I clarify for folks is what's called the amplification effect. So anytime you try to suppress a feeling or get rid of a thought, it actually amplifies them. This is a really well-known phenomena in psychology. So when we say things to ourselves as well, like, I shouldn't feel this is too much, or why is this happening to me? Those are also another way of piling more and more layers of psychological suffering on top of pain. So sometimes we're trying to push thoughts and feelings away and we amplify them. Other times we amplify them by kind of getting sucked into just like a spiral of negative thinking and, getting kind of drowning in or being overwhelmed by difficult emotions. So both of those things are not helpful. They're ways of relating to what's happening that make things worse and make an already difficult time much harder. So this is why it's so important just to know the fundamental, correct ways of relating to our thoughts, feelings, and experiences so that we can stay empowered, grounded, and effective. So there's so much in life that really is out of our control. What happens to my cat, what's happening in the world, on the world stage economically, politically. There are some things that we can do that are in our control in regards to all of that. But in every single moment, there are two things we always have control over. There are many things we do not have control over. Two things we do have control over: how we relate to what's happening, so our attitude and our actions. And the good news about that is that is where our deepest strength does live. I want to offer you a tool to experiment with as you're going about your daily life. There is a tool that I offer clients when we are starting to, once I've taught them some adaptive ways of responding to their thoughts and emotions, the most important thing is discernment, noticing if how you're relating to what's happening is helpful or it's harmful. In other words, it's hindering, it's harming, it's drumming up more fear, anxiety, or distress. So here's my encouragement. As you're going about your daily life, try experimenting with asking yourself, how am I relating to what's happening? How am I relating to my thoughts, to my feelings when they're arising, to the situation? And if you imagine this tool I give my clients, it's called the mental strength line. Imagine doing a little check-in. Imagine a line. If you're above the line, then you're relating to what's happening in a way that feels like it's helpful, it's empowering, it's calming, it's allowing you to meet what's happening with skill, with wisdom. So you're above the line, you're in your strength. If you're below the line, you're in a state of struggle or stress or disempowerment. So if you're below the line, basically you can just sum this up, is I'm relating to what's happening in a way that's unhelpful. If you're above the line, you're relating to things in a way that's helpful. So stay focused on the things that you can control, right? Accept that there are many things, our emotions and our thoughts and other people and world events that are somewhat outside of our control. Remember, in every single moment, you can control your attitude and your actions. Think about that mental strength line. How am I relating to what's happening? Is it helpful or is it unhelpful? And if it's unhelpful, then asking yourself what you can do to shift back above the line. What would be a more empowering? What would be a more soothing? What would be a more life-affirming way to relate to the situation or your emotions or your thoughts? And you can do this in the spirit of looking after yourself in the midst of whatever it is that you're dealing with in that moment. I hope this is helpful for you. I hope that bringing this kind of discernment and this kind of loving pivot towards greater strength and greater ease and greater calm really, really supports you in this pretty crazy time we're living in right now. And hey, if you're going through something tough right now, whether it's a personal struggle or the weight of all the uncertainty and craziness in the world just feels like it's taking a bit of a toll, I'd love to invite you to join me in the Calm in Crisis journey. Starting May 1st, it's a 5-day experience that's designed to fit really, really well into a busy life. That's going to do 2 things. In each daily session for 5 days, it's designed to deeply reset your nervous system and calm and clear your mind. But at the same time, it teaches 5 wisdom-based but evidence-backed skills to make you more resilient, more effective, and more authentic in the face of whatever it is that's happening in your life or in the world, allowing you to really relate to whatever's happening from a place of wisdom, strength, and inner stability. There are meditations mixed with positive neuroplasticity training and peak performance psychology that last for about 15 minutes a day. There's also 3 live coaching calls with me that have a all questions asked guarantee. So everyone who does this course is not going to get stuck or blocked. I'm going to answer everyone's questions no matter what time zone you're in or what's happening in your life. Again, we start May 1st. It's at early bird rates right now. It's $79 for lifetime access. It has a full money back guarantee. And in this course, you're going to learn the exact skills that I use with my clients and in my own life to shift from reactivity to resilience. Because our power doesn't lie in controlling everything in life. It lies in how we relate to it. And that's a skill that we can always grow and carry with us wherever we go. So just remembering again, the next time you feel overwhelmed, disempowered, anxious, stuck, or blocked in any way, ask yourself the question, hang on, how am I relating to what I'm experiencing right now? Let that question be your anchor. Let it bring you back to a sort of calm, clearer, higher perspective, back to your center, back to your strength. And then ask yourself, if I'm below the line, if I'm relating to this in a way that's not helpful, how can I shift back above the line and respond to what's happening in a way that helps me be more effective, more calm, more peaceful, more empowered in the face of everything that's going on. Okay, I hope this has helped for you. Play around with this practice, see how it goes for you. Keep shifting back above the line. Remember that inner strength really is a practice. It's a choice that we can make in any given moment. My blessings to you. All the links to everything I've spoken about in this episode are in the show notes. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me and my team. We love to hear from you. Okay, I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast. Till then, take care, take it easy, and stay strong. If you know someone who you think might benefit from listening to this episode, share it with them. Sharing it could really help them to feel better and improve the quality of their life. And if you found this episode helpful, remember to subscribe to this podcast so that you can receive more tips on growing your inner strength and keep practicing along with us every week. And if you'd like some more support in becoming mentally, emotionally, and spiritually stronger, come check out the offerings I have to support you on my website at www.mellyobrien.com. As well as coaching and course options, I also have a bunch of free resources for you, including a free Deep Resilience Care Package, which you can begin to use right away to get some immediate relief from stress and suffering, improve your resilience and mental well-being, and help you navigate whatever you're going through with more wisdom, skill, and confidence. You can find the links for all of that in the show notes. Thanks again for tuning in. Take care and stay strong.